Hey everybody, it's Guy here. It's Friday, January the 16th, and I just thought I would file what I think is actually an important report, but I'm going to treat it very casually today, more in the way of a fireside chat kind of thing. And I'm actually sitting in front of the fireplace. It was, I don't know, minus 30 or something this morning. It was a cold time on the school bus, I can tell you. Um, so I have some thoughts to share about something specific, and this is going to be one of the most wild ideas that I've ever shared. Um, but I think it's plausible. I think it's something we have to think about, if only to rule it out. I don't know where to begin, but let me start by taking you back to a memory of mine that I was thinking about when I was driving the bus this morning. Way back when I was a child in grade 7. Grade 7 was probably my worst year in school. I was sent to the principal's office many times. There was trouble at home. Back in those days, the culture was more punishment than rehabilitation. I had just changed schools. I'd changed schools a number of times, and I'd been quite happy at Whitney Elementary School, and then I switched to Deer Park for grades 7 and 8, which is in some places called junior high school. And anyway, it was not a great year for me. However, one good thing that year was I had a teacher by the name of Mr. Wark, W-A-R-K, Bruce Wark. And he was a bachelor, and he was probably something of a playboy. And back in the 70s, that would have been a good thing. And he was a very interesting person. He looked vaguely like Burt Reynolds. He had dark hair, very good-looking guy with a mustache, very much like Burt Reynolds actually, and he had a similar personality. And I don't remember much academically from that year, but what I do remember was he did something unusual. He read a book to us. Once a week, he would read a chapter from a science fiction novel. Now, I can't figure out what that novel was, but maybe when I describe what I'm about to say, some of you will know what it was. I think it was Ray Bradbury, but I'm not sure. And what happened in that book is pertinent to what I'm going to get into. So in that book, as I recall, the world had been invaded by aliens, and I don't think we ever met the aliens in the book. That was part of what made it really creepy and paranoid. And what happened was there were these flying saucer-like craft, but they had come to the earth and they were on stilts. So they were very high up, probably hundreds of feet. I think I recall that people would mistake them for water towers. So they looked vaguely like a water tower. And they would walk across the landscape, and they would capture people. And when the people were returned, they looked perfectly normal, except they had a metal plate in the back of their heads. And then it was very clear that they were mind controlled from that point on and were working for this alien species, like they were kind of like remote controlled. And I don't remember much of the rest of the book, but I just remember it was very disturbing and it was very captivating and it was very enjoyable because I was not enjoying the rest of the school year. There was a lot of repetition in the curriculum. But Mr. Wark reading from that book was very engaging. And I hadn't read a lot of science fiction at that point, although it inspired me when my father got me interested in a book that was also really good. I don't want to get off topic too much, but it was a book called City by a sci-fi author from the 50s and 60s called Clifford Simak, Simak. And that's a very worthwhile book. I'll talk about that another day. But I mention this because of what I'm going to get into. Now, I just happened to watch a video interview this morning that I'm gonna post in the comments section. It's very short. It's only about 5 or 6 minutes long, I think, in which one of the world's most noted conspiracy theorists describes what he thinks the real purpose of graphene oxide is that were in the injections. I'm trying not to use trigger words because I would like it if this video was not throttled. And his characterization of the purpose of the nanotechnology is very much aligned to my interpretation. And he describes, you can watch the video for yourself, but in case you don't, he says that what La Quinta Columna researchers did in Spain is they took some vials of the, I don't want to use the word, but what was in the injections. And they were, you might recall, they were kept at a very, very cold temperature because whatever was in them was activated by the temperature of the human body. And what they did is they gradually heated the vials to the temperature of the human body. And as they did so, all of this nanotechnology became visible and started self-replicating. And I think this is the stuff that ultimately led to the rubbery clots that have been found in a lot of cadavers. And some people think the purpose of this was to kill people. And that might have been part of the reason. I mean, I think that technology, which was developed by DARPA and the US military, by the way, over many years, it wasn't a rushed solution to a public health crisis. He thinks, and I agree, if you look at 6G that's coming, 6G is not just like the next stage after 5G, 3G, 4G, 5G, faster internet speeds and better connectivity. No, if you look at 6G, I'll try to remember to also post a very good video under here from Redacted, where the host talks about what 6G actually is. We are going to be bathed in 6G. There's going to be radiation everywhere, and it will be more or less inescapable. They will be able to track every human being across the entire planet with satellites and so on. Basically, we're entering a science fiction reality. And this 6G is going to be everywhere. There's going to be millions and hundreds of millions of antennas and drones and cameras. total prison planet surveillance society. Okay? Now imagine you've got most of the human population having this graphene oxide in their bodies. And there's other roots for it. I can't assume that I don't have it just because I didn't get the injections. It's in the food, it's in the aerial spraying. I had a live blood analysis done last year, and just from a little drop of blood from my finger, I was amazed at what was in there. It was very disturbing. There were parasites, these worm-like structures, just like you see in the blood of injected people. So I'm now researching how to treat myself as though I had been injected. In fact, I posted a post on Facebook a while ago that had the title, We Are All Injected Now, or something like that. Anyway, I'll get to my point. So what I think the plan is when the 6G is turned on and activated, it will interact with people who have this graphene oxide in their bodies. And in a way that's disturbingly similar to that science fiction story that Mr. Wark read to us decades ago, I think it will be used at a minimum to surveil us, to remotely know everything that's going on in our bodies, potentially to read our minds, potentially to remote control us, potentially to control our minds. I mean, I don't know, but I just think people of conscience, people in the truth and freedom movement, need to speculate about this. We need to make a list of everything that this could possibly be and start considering every possibility, if only to rule them out. But I think almost anything's possible. And as you'll see in that video I'm going to share, it is noted that a lot of people who've received the injections have different personalities than they used to. I think we've all noticed that. So just imagine when the 6G connects to the technology that's inside of us. See where I'm going here? Now, here's the main point I want to get to. How can I put this? Steven Spielberg has a new film coming out. I think it's in December of next year, called Disclosure Day. Well, we know that there's a relationship between Hollywood and the military and so on and so forth. Oh, and as an aside, before I forget, I also put up a post that Mark Carney, the Canadian Prime Minister, was just in China, where he announced a new multilateral trade relationship that is part of the New World Order. He actually used those words. And there is not a chance in hell that he was not sending out a signal. So I think 2026 is the year that they drop the hammer, because we know they want to get this all done by 2030, and that's really, I'm referring to the Agenda 2030 report. And this all ties in with the World Economic Forum and Klaus Schwab and the Great Reset. Call it a conspiracy theory if you want, but it's not like they haven't told us. So we've also heard a lot about how there's going to be this fake alien invasion, right? This is going to be the big psyop. So here's what I'm thinking. And I'm going to surprise you in a second. We've heard about the fake alien psyop, and we know they have the holographic technology to project incredibly convincing three-dimensional images that if you see it, you just cannot differentiate it from three-dimensional reality. We know that that is a fact. So yes, they have the capacity to simulate an alien invasion. And we have Steven Spielberg coming out with that Disclosure Day movie. And we have what's going on with ICE and this creation of an American Stasi that is terrorizing American citizens and could be the beginning of a reign of terror. Okay, so Guy, what's your point? All right, so a lot of us in the Truth and Freedom movement are prepared for the fake alien invasion, right? And so when it happens, we'll just go, I'm not falling for that psyop. That's just holographic technology. I'm not going to do anything. But here's my idea. What if, like that what I think is a Ray Bradbury novel that Mr. Wark read to us, what if there really is an alien species that intends to occupy this planet and take it over? And what if either through direct contact or through some sort of technology, kind of thing that you might find at CERN, what if they've been in contact with the so-called elites on this planet? What if they gave them a plan and said, we're coming, and here's how you're going to prepare for our arrival. And here's a technology that you can inject into the human population to make them surveillable and controllable for when we arrive. And what if, using reverse psychology, we've been prepared to think that there will be a fake alien invasion when there will actually be an alien invasion, so that those of us who would naturally be inclined to rise up and fight will lay down our tools and not do anything. Isn't that a creepy thought? Well, that thought occurred to me, and I thought, I better share that. And listen, I don't want to contribute to anyone falling for a psyop, okay? So I don't, if it's a psyop that happens this year or sometime soon, forgive me, but I think we have to consider this possibility because, the nature of what was in those shots and what's happening and the way technology's going and this whole New World Order stuff. And it looks to me like the so-called elites, I hate calling them that, let's just call them the controllers, because they're not better than us. It looks like they're going for broke now, and they're lining their own pockets. Trump has been absolutely shameless about it. The Canadian Prime Minister, Mark Carney, has been abusing his position to have the Canadian pension plan, which is a lot of money, invest in projects that benefit Brookfield. So he's on his way to becoming a member of the billionaire club, if he's not already. So it's almost like before they go underground to their bunkers or whatever the hell they've got down there, they're just being shameless about looting the treasury of every country. And I might add that Trump's seizure of Venezuela, and now he's planning to take over Greenland, fits with the plan of Technocracy Inc., going back decades, where, and I'll try to remember to share the map below as well, all of North America, including Venezuela in the south and Greenland in the north, was on this map of what was going to be called the North American Technate. In other words, a scientific dictatorship controlled by experts, in which there would be no business executives or politicians running things. Everything would be run by these people that now have AI and all the kind of technology to fulfill that vision. And remember, Elon Musk's grandfather was involved in that. And their vision was to have a technate on every continent. So there'd be an Asian technate and an African one, and so on and so forth. And the European Union is very clearly a setup for that in that part of the world. So I don't know, guys. I just thought I'd speculate and share that. Sorry, I can't remember the name of that book. It was very much a War of the Worlds type of book. It might have been that, actually, but I'm just not sure. So sorry that I've rambled. It's a long video, but I hope you enjoyed it and it provokes you to think and gets us talking amongst ourselves and with each other about anticipating what we're going to do, psyop or not, because I think this is the year that they're going to bring down the hammer. And you certainly see that in Minneapolis, don't you? So anyway, thank you for your kind attention. And excuse me, we'll see you in the comments section, and we'll see you in the next report.